Hey guys, this is Zach here. I was going to make a few shorter videos today talking about the latest trailer for Fantastic Four First Steps. However, there was so much to talk about here, I thought I'd make an extended video covering everything that we've seen today. In addition to the new footage and plot details, we also have a synopsis that was just released for the movie. I'm gonna read that in full really quick. Set against the vibrant backdrop of a 1960s-inspired retro-futuristic world, the Fantastic Four First Steps introduces Marvel's first family. Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and Ben Grimm, the Thing, as they face their most daunting challenge yet. Forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of their family bond, they must defend Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus. And if Galactus' plan to devour the entire planet and everyone on it weren't bad enough, it suddenly gets very personal. So that last line has a few meanings. The most obvious one involves Doctor Doom, but I think there's a bigger connection between Franklin Richards and Galactus. In the limited series Earth X, which takes place in a future dystopian version of the Marvel Universe, the Fantastic Four has killed Galactus using the ultimate nullifier, throwing the balance of the universe out of whack. Galactus essentially needs to exist to make sure the Celestials stay in check. In this universe, Franklin Richards sacrifices his own identity to become Galactus. And with the conception of Franklin Richards in Fantastic Four First Steps, it's very possible that could be the angle this movie is moving towards, being a light adaptation of Earth X. Now that's just one piece of connective tissue, but there is another link. Earth X is the storyline that saw Shala Bal become one of the Heralds of Galactus. Now the main difference between the Earth in Earth X and the Earth in Fantastic Four First Steps is its place in the timeline. As mentioned, Earth X is a dystopian future version of the Marvel Universe, and Fantastic Four First Steps takes place on an Earth where they are the only superheroes, and the Fantastic Four seem to be much earlier in their superhero career. Now, something Fantastic Four readers will be all too familiar with is the fact that Reed Richards isn't that great of a guy. He tends to be arrogant and pretty selfish in specific situations. One version of this character people will be all too familiar with is the Maker. Now, the Maker is the ultimate incarnation of Reed Richards who lost everything, eventually becoming a supervillain. Now, one thing fans have been asking for with the multiverse saga drawing on so many of the legacy Marvel projects is that we get a return of Miles Teller as Reed Richards from the 2015 Fantastic Four movie. Now, that version is widely hated, but that movie is essentially an adaptation of the Ultimate Fantastic Four comics. And I don't think there's many people who are that upset with the cast of the movie, at least now anyways. So people want to see Miles Teller back as Maker for Secret Wars. The character played a large role in the comics, and it would be great to see him return here. Now, the main thing that separates the Ultimate Fantastic Four from Earth 616 is the age difference. The Ultimate versions of these characters were much younger than the mainline continuity. So let me move all of the pieces in place of what I'm thinking. Fantastic Four First Steps results in the death of Galactus for this universe. With Galactus out of the way, the Celestials have a chance to harvest Earth. Reed is offered the opportunity to sacrifice his unborn son in order to save the Earth. He decides not to do that and would rather find another solution for saving the planet. That doesn't work, the Earth is destroyed, and they are lost in space. That is, until they're brought to Earth 616. Now let's imagine that Miles Teller's version of Reed undergoes the same trauma, loses all of the Fantastic Four members, his own Earth, and even his unborn son. This could potentially lead them to be mirror versions of each other. Just some food for thought to think about how everything could tie in going forward with Doomsday and Secret Wars. I just think that very personal line in the synopsis offers a couple different interesting opportunities, and that is one of them. But let's dive into the trailer now. Now, the first half of it is pretty much everything we already expected for the most part. Recapping the origin and just kind of getting a slice of life for these characters. We see the Fantastic Four acting as kind of celebrities in their world, something that was really heavily tackled in the 2000s movies, until the coming of the Silver Surfer. Now, everything in the trailer is pretty much exactly what happens in the comic, with a few key differences. The big ones involve characters that were already pre-established established in the Marvel Universe. But I do think at least one of those characters could turn up in this movie. The clip where the Fantastic Four witnessed the skyline on fire was caused in the comic by the Watcher attempting to conceal Earth from Galactus. Now, the Watcher most prominently appeared in the multiverse-centric What If, but we've also seen him and his species appear in other projects like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, X-Men 97, and your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So there is a big possibility that this may be the first time we'll see the Watcher show up on screen in live action, voiced by Jeffrey Wright. I think that would be a really cool connection and a great way to get the Fantastic Four over to Earth 616. Of course, in the comic, the Watcher's attempted concealment of Earth doesn't work, and Galactus and the Silver Surfer come anyways. A detail I really like for this version of the characters is that they are essentially the ones that bring Galactus to Earth. The origin of their power seems to be directly tied into the coming of Galactus. Now, I've seen a lot of comments on earlier videos where I kind of expressed that I think this movie is going to end on a bit of a negative note, with many people saying it looks like it's so positive and fun. But this point in the trailer takes a really dark, dramatic turn. All of the citizens of Earth are relying on the Fantastic Four, and even they don't know if they're going to be able to make it out of this okay. And this all culminates with one of the most interesting shots of the movie we've seen so far. Now, what I think is happening here is that the Fantastic Four are essentially going to go back into space following the Silver Surfer to try and dissuade her from bringing Galactus to Earth. But while away from Earth, Galactus is already in the process of consuming the planet. And from that point on in the movie, the Fantastic Four are essentially doing damage control, trying to save as many people as possible. I mean, that's primarily a lot of the effect shots that we see in the trailer. The Fantastic Four are using their powers not to fight anybody, but to save civilians. And the last shot I want to bring up is the one of Reed Richards stretching. Now, the effect itself looks really great. This is the first time we've seen this version of the character using his powers. I have seen some concerns that they're not confident in the way it looks fully, so that's why we're not seeing as many of those shots here. But I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure they're just trying to save all of those big action moments for the movie itself. There's enough here that'll get us excited to see the movie without showing every single trick they have. But I want to direct your attention to what he's holding in this shot. Now, initially I thought this was just a piece of debris he was catching out of the air, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe this is the Ultimate Nullifier. The Ultimate Nullifier is a device that was introduced in the original Galactus trilogy run, and it essentially has the power to destroy anybody in the Marvel Universe. As I mentioned previously though, destroying Galactus is not the objective here. Galactus is necessary to keep cosmic balance in check. So either Reed actually does use it on Galactus and regrets it later, or something else gets in the way. I'm telling you, this movie is not going to have a very happy ending. But I'm really excited to see it. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. From everything we've seen so far, what this movie is able to capture that other adaptations of the Fantastic Four haven't yet, truly is that family dynamic that we have here. I'm especially looking forward to Johnny Storm's chemistry with the Thing. That was another thing the earlier movies had trouble adapting, their friendly rivalry. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you thought about the trailer and what you think about my theory down in the comments below.